let me say a special good morning to the listeners, special good morning also to the viewers. Welcome to today's edition of To The Point. It's Thursday, the 20th day of August 2026. Welcome to those of you our social media platforms. Welcome. You know, on Thursdays, for you listeners and viewers or folks who always follow this program, we do entertain various divisions within the RGPF. And I was actually awaiting my guests to pop in with me this morning. Haven't seen anyone arrived as yet. I'm not sure if they're running late, but had no communication with anyone pertaining to reasons why they are not here as yet. So if they do pop in as we proceed this morning, we certainly will engage with them in the conversation. Here, folks, on 435-2041. I think my guest is here, so I will probably take a short break. You see what happens when the folks come here late. Take a short break, get them all settled in, and of course, we come right back. So, Master Control, a few minutes, we'll be right back. Of course, so to get the guests all settled in. All right?
Delivered to you via Superb Service. We are Superb Distributors, wholesalers and authorized agents for trusted products you know and love, like Rika Juices, Pure Heaven products, Bibbin diapers, New Bright laundry detergent, Allegro pasta, and more.
Contact Superb Distributors at 435-2948 for superb quality and service.
This is a warning. We out and bad. Yes, it's your girl Cole Baldeo reminding you guys to stay locked into GBN for the Spice Mass season every and anywhere you are. Remember to follow me on all social media platforms. Stay tuned for new music. Good music, cause job don't fall in love. We only fall in oil. You know how we do it, yeah.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. And my guests have arrived. My apology for them being late. Should I apologize for you all this morning? I'll take some blame. I'll take some blame for that. Good morning to you both this morning. Of course, we had Detective Francis and Dominic with us this morning. Am I right about the titles also? Corporal
Francis and
Corporal Francis.
Yeah, and
Detective, of course, Dominic. Thank you both once again for being here this morning. And our focus of the conversation this morning, we're talking missing persons and child safety, and the board representing the Special Victims Unit, right?
Correct.
Yeah, right. Let's get the ball rolling up this morning. When we're talking missing persons, child safety, we know we are just wrapping up the the vacation season for most schools, and not that missing persons only will occur when we'll be talking in terms of children, when school is on vacation. But sometimes the percentage rises a little bit more than usual. It always happens all through the year. Now, if we are to get the ball rolling in this particular way, what will constitute a missing person? When we hear the talk, well, somebody's missing in the local parlance of how we speak, somebody's missing. What will really constitute a missing person? Who are we going to get the ball rolling off like that this morning?
So a missing person is considered someone whose whereabouts is unknown, and someone has genuine concern for their whereabouts and their safety.
All right. But how does it get to that stage? How does it get to that stage, per se?
So someone would be missing from home, like they don't know the whereabouts of the person, right? So the person who is concerned, they would reach out to the authorities and say that they're reporting a missing person.
All right. No, and when you're referencing Grenada's legal, system of the RGPF, the policies and so forth, what is that formal definition of missing person?
So a missing person is anyone their whereabouts is unknown.
Yeah.
You cannot establish where they are, so they're considered missing. You cannot locate them, and most likely their well-being or safety will be of concerns during that time. So there are certain things that you of the person that is making the report should do before you make a complaint to the police. And it must be done in a timely manner. Right. Don't sit down, hours pass, a whole day pass, and you haven't done anything. So you attempt to contact the individual.
Yes.
You also call friends and family members. You visit areas that you know the person may go to. And you also visit places that you expect them to be, where they normally hang out or they're lying. And you check to see if any items in the home is missing. But you must do that in a timely manner.
And that is done in the time before they actually visit the police?
Yes.
Before you do, that's what you should be doing, preempting before you go to the police. Yes.
If all this is done and you cannot locate the person, you immediately contact the police.
Yeah.
Yes. So there isn't a time frame, but we're just asking persons that look at the avenues. Call persons, call around, look around, do what you have to do to ensure that you actually making a missing persons report.
All right. So what are some of that common misconception? Of course, sometimes in good Grenadian public has that regard to, of course, what really qualifies or that person to be in that particular case of a missing person.
So we also will say that children are a concern. A child goes missing is concern. Anybody under the age of 18. There are also persons that may have mental issues, dementia, also have health issues. So they're vulnerable persons out there. So these persons are normally persons that are prone to becoming persons that are considered to be missing when their whereabouts is not known.
All right. What is that critical time factor involved? You always hear folks say there's that 48-hour time factor. Is that how critical or important is that? That 48 hour, if that's just a weak talk that people or individual have, that 48 hours before anything could be done, especially from a policing point of view.
Well, from a policing point of view, you do not have to wait 24 hours or 48 hours before you report somebody missing. Once you have genuine concern for their whereabouts and their safety, you, as Corporal Francis mentioned, you did all the necessary checks and you made phone calls, you check the areas where they're supposed to be, and you haven't seen them, you can report them as a missing person.
Now, from a police point of view, how is that procedure taken care of from that end now? So after I may have noticed my son, my daughter, my elderly uncle or whatever is not in the house. I have done all that you have mentioned, checked all the areas where I presume that he or her may be.
Yes.
I have, consulted with others in relation to if they have seen or seen him in that particular location or not. Where does it go from there with the Special Victims Unit now?
Right, so once you call the police to report a matter of a missing person, there is certain information that you have to provide the police with so that they can, launch an investigation into finding that missing person. Those information include the person's name, the age, the address, places that they usually frequent, the places that they last seen, the clothes that they were last seen wearing, and if they have any medical conditions or health issues. So you give the police that information. You also provide us with a recent photograph of that person as well.
All right.
And we'll take it from there.
Just to add, a description of the person would be needed. The height, their build, their hair, what hairstyle they had and stuff.
As much details as possible.
As much details as needed.
All right. Tell me, how can citizens report sensitive information, especially to the special victim in case, and you want to remain anonymously, all right? But in fear of retaliation for, the social stigma and so forth, how can individuals do that?
Well, there's no really hard process. You call with the information. After the bat, you may say that you don't want to say who you are, but we will question you. The questions that we ask you is not to find out who you are, but is all aimed at locating the person. So as much information that you can give it to the police. Without asking for a name or a contact number or whatnot, just give the information that the officers is asking of you.
All right. I mean, I'm assuming cases of that nature will come around if maybe it's a neighbor that you may have noticed not at home for a couple of days, say him or her may be living alone, and you notice they're not there for various reasons, or you're not hearing from them. Maybe every morning you hear them singing, and for a couple of days you probably haven't heard them singing, or so under circumstances like that, you could probably report them as missing.
Yes, you can.
You can.
So a wellness check maybe could be done. Go to the officers, go to the individual homes to find out if they are wrong, maybe make some checks, call family members, maybe the person may be spending time, or they could be hospitalized. It's just to ensure that their safety and well-being.
As they say, you're being that goodly neighbor.
Yes.
You're being that goodly neighbor. Let's talk a wee bit about, child safety, especially around this time. Yes, school is soon to be reopened. What specific safety trends or spikes, indicate that, of course, or spikes in incidents, would you say, does SVU observe, especially during major festivals? We know you have just wrapped up the carnival season and so forth. Tell us about it. Then we have Christmas approaching. What specific, incidents we know that these particular spikes occur that SVU is concerned about?
You're speaking of during the holidays.
Exactly, right. During the holidays.
So during the holidays, again, we would see reports of missing person. We would also see reports of sexual intercourse between the ages of 13 and 16. We would also see indecent assault. We would also see violation of privacy occurring during those times as well. Yes.
All right. And you always see the trend, per se, or a spike around this particular seasonal times, more or less.
When they're out of school, yes.
When they're out of school. Yeah. Tell me, what practice, or strategy would you say do you recommend for parents to keep their children safe, especially in large crowds, public spaces, especially during events, when events and so forth are happening? Folks may say it may be untimely to ask us, but to ask a question of that nature, we already wrapped up carnival and stuff like that, but moving forward, it's always good to keep your mind abreast with situations that could occur.
Yes.
Talk to me.
So as we know, holidays is often longer days without supervision. Parents are at work, children are at home. So we see an increase in social gathering around that time, and also that is a risk for neglect. Parents should know their children whereabouts at all times. Keep them engaged in safe activities. So instead of leaving them at home unattended, you could put them in a summer camp over the vacation to keep them involved. Or place them in a care facility, or get a babysitter to look after your children while you're working. Also disclose emergency contact numbers to your child, and educate them about safety rules, the do's and the don'ts, what they should engage in, what they should not engage in.
All right. Anything you want to add to that?
Right. In addition to that, I would speak on the use of electronic devices, cell phones. Right. Parents should pay particular attention to the website that their children visit, the social media, the apps that they have on their phone. Monitor every single move that they make on the phone. Like, have parental control on the phone so that you can see what it is that they're engaging. Teach them to how to identify persons that would be of risk to them. So persons who would speak to them in an inappropriate manner, persons that would request them to send pictures and videos of themselves, to request personal information from them, and so on. So teach them to abstain from giving out those type of information to strangers.
All right. Talk to me about the legal obligation that parents and guardians do have under Grenada's law in regarding supervision of their children, especially during the holiday season and so forth. What is that legal, responsibility?
So persons could be charged for neglect.
Yes.
Once you are the care of a child or anyone that's under your care, dependent, you could be charged for neglect. If you neglect that person and any harm is done to an individual, you will be charged. Because you're liable, you're supposed to ensure the safety and the well-being of persons under your care. It's a huge task, but you bear the responsibility, and if anything happens to that individual under your care, you'll be liable. Once you show that the negligence was a factor that contributed to that person being harmed in any form.
All right. Again, and it goes across the board, especially folks want to go to events and so forth and think, well, maybe it's okay to leave my son or daughter home alone. Or maybe you have an elderly, family member and you say, well, I think Granny could probably take care of herself. Mm-hmm. And you know stuff what could occur, fires and all of these things could occur and so forth. We due for a break. Let's take it. And on return, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks, to the Point Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it out. Stay with us, folks.
Anticipated international drags returns to the Spice Isle of Grenada. The Grenada Motor Club proudly presents the King Ocean International Drags, September 26th and 27th at the Pearls International Speedway. Get ready for what is anticipated to be one of the largest international drag racing events the Caribbean has ever seen. Witness some of the fastest and most powerful drag racing machines in the Caribbean, along with international participation from across the region, North America and South America. 2 days of speed, power, adrenaline, and non-stop action. And it doesn't stop at drag racing. Expect some special drift entertainment, appearances from some of the Caribbean's top influencers, and so much more. Mark the dates, September 26th and 27th. The King Ocean International Drag. The Caribbean is coming to the Spice Isle. You don't want to miss this one.
A new school year means new opportunities, but it also means new expenses. From uniforms and books to laptops, transportation and school supplies, Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited is here to help. Apply for a back-to-school loan and give your child the confident start they deserve with affordable financing and friendly service from the credit union you know and trust. Visit your nearest Grenville Cooperative Credit Union branch or call us today for more information. Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited, helping members build brighter futures, one school year at a time.
You may not always have your ATM card on you, but that shouldn't stop you from accessing your money. With Republic Bank's cardless cash service, you can withdraw cash from any ATM without using your debit card. It's simple to use. Just log into your Republic Bank app, select cardless cash, enter the amount you need and generate the one-time code. At the ATM, enter your code, confirm your details, and you're done. No card needed. It's useful when you left your wallet behind and when you need to send cash to someone else securely. With cardless cash, you stay in control and in touch with your money wherever you are. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Of course, we have members of the Special Victim Unit with us this morning, and we're talking missing persons and child safety as a focused conversation this morning. I want to switch the conversation to, of course, a trend that is concerning, and we're talking internet safety. And this goes a long way in terms of, parents leaving their sons and daughters home unattended and probably think it might be the best to leave them on a computer. To, of course, maybe that distraction of not making them want to go outdoors. So you say, yeah, but you stay on the computer, you wouldn't go outside. Is that a best trend would you encourage parents to do, or it should be more monitored in some way or the other? Let's start it off like that.
I believe that children using the internet and electronic device should be monitored by parents. The parents should pay particular attention to and become familiar with the apps that their children use on those devices. For example, be familiar with WhatsApp, Instagram. Children, they're very intelligent when it comes to the technology, so they're able to hide stuff from you. So once you make yourself familiar with the different things on those apps, you know how to search for what you're looking for and to make sure that they're not engaged in things that they're not supposed to be engaged in.
Tell me, what are the most prevalent in Grenada today in terms of online threats currently targeting youth in Grenada, such like the cyberbullying, the grooming, the sextortion, of course, conversation that they get involved in and so forth. Talk to me about that, if you have that kind of information to share.
Right. So what we see happening is persons posing online as people that they're not. So a child would think they're talking to someone their age on the internet, and when you do the investigation and the background check, you realize that is someone not even living in Grenada, someone very much older than they are, and we see that a lot. We also see the violation of privacy, where persons share naked photos and videos of other persons online. This is one that we deal with a lot at the Special Victims Unit.
Okay. Parents and children always feel parents may want to give their sons and daughters that level of trust. You understand? How important it is for parents to monitor those electronics devices without completely eroding that mother-daughter, that father-son relationship. Or mommy going on my phone for and things like that. How important it is for parents to be able to monitor it without eroding that trust that develop between them.
So as I always say, it's important that parents know that they're not the child friend. You're the parent. You're supposed to grow them up as you're the parent. You let them know that there's boundaries and there's guidelines that they're supposed to follow. Their children, and they have to abide by the rules. And if they don't, then there's consequences. So it's important to establish the boundaries as early as possible.
Yeah. Which means you as a dad, you should know that I could call you and say, hey, put your phone on. The youngsters want to lock it on their own and stuff like that these days. And you should be able to call them up and say, hey, I would like to check your phone. And it should not be an issue. Or it shouldn't blow out into a whole argument because I want to look at your phone.
And you could also have the parental control app on your phone where you can monitor what they're doing on your phone. So you have a stipulated time when they're able to use the phone and when certain apps would shut down. So you can do that as well.
So do you know of that? Because I would say, for one, give my sons their time. I say you have a 2 or 3 hour opportunity to use the PC and then it shuts down. And the only way they can get back in that, I have to give permission again.
Yes.
In order to use it. Most parents may not want to go that distance. It takes a little task in terms of getting it, it sorted out. But I think it works because you could say that, you could give them that 2 hours window that they could do to play, whether it's to play a game or whatever, and then that shuts off. And the only way that game could get restarted is if I grant that particular permission. You understand? Whether being home or not. Anything you want to add to that?
I'd like to add this, that parents and children should have good communication and set boundaries, and your child should be comfortable enough to come to you, to speak to you, or report any uncomfortable interaction they may have online. Right? So you have to build that kind of bond, that kind of trust, and and set boundaries with your child, making them comfortable. Something happens, somebody may be grooming them or asking them to send nudes to them, that they have that trust to come and say, well, mommy, I've been online and this is the case.
All right. Because when youngsters to get to that rebellious age, and they feel, well, maybe I'm feeling a way that I could make my own decisions and getting to my conversation on a personal level of myself. But you always have to make sure that you develop that relationship with your son or daughter that makes it easier for them to communicate with you.
Definitely.
Makes it much easier for them to communicate. All right. Tell me this. What legal mechanism when you say that the RGPF used to track, or prosecute digital predators operating within or outside Grenada? If you could speak to me in relation to that, because I know there will be parents who are listening to this conversation this morning and want to know what is the assistance could be granted to them, especially from the RGPF.
So in terms of violation of privacy online, the investigation will be launched, and we would take the devices that are involved, especially the child devices, and we would take it to we have a digital forensic unit, and that team would deal with those issues concerning the internet and cybercrime. All
right. Great. I'm assuming parents may be certainly happy. Now, what should the youth, I should say, or parents, or young parents, or youth, or young parents would want to put it that way, do immediately if you realize that you of course, you've been targeted or blackmailed specifically online by someone? What should you do?
So I would advise that you take screenshots of the conversation, because person would, when they realize that you're caught up to them, they would try to delete the messages from both ends. So you take screenshots of all the information, pictures, everything that they send to you. You take screenshots of that and you report it to the police immediately. You block the person and you report the issue to the police immediately so that action can be taken as soon as possible.
All right.
Okay, I'd like to add that in relation to taking the device, put it on airplane mode, because sometimes the device have internet access, and person could use another device to go into that device and delete all the messages. So sometimes your phone running and the person have access to the Google accounts, they have access to whatever, and they could use another device to go into that device and delete all the conversations, delete the gallery, delete whatever.
All right.
So if you're taking the device, place it on airplane mode to preserve the evidence,
the information,
digital
or maybe
evidence.
Find some way of getting it off the internet.
Yes.
Well, let's get it off the internet. All right, folks, we're moving down to 28 minutes moving up before, 28 minutes moving up before the 10 o'clock hour. We drew for a break. Let's take it. We come back. We continue with the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the short break. Don't touch it down.
You've arrived in paradise. You felt the rhythm. Now let's make sure you say it right.
Hey, my name is Florian. I'm from the beautiful Aida Perla cruise ship. So today, like we Germans say, we are in Grenada. But I heard in English it's called Grenada.
Say it right. Grenada.
Say it right.
Grenada.
That's right. Grenada. There we go. Say it right. It's Grenada. It's not Grenada. It's Grenada. Say it right.
Got something to share?
Call us at 440-1252.
WhatsApp 405-3052 or 407-8458.
Or email gbnnews@gbn.gd.
GBN News, first, accurate, voted #1.
Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GPN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GPN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gpn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. Officers, welcome back. Also, it's To The Point here on Classic Radio, GBN TV. I want to get into another level of the conversation this morning, and it deals with stranger awareness. You know, from time to time, and we still deal in terms of youngsters, and you know, they become missing and getting themselves involved in activities that they may not have, directly want to get themselves involved in, but you know, sometimes the influence gets thrown at them and they get taken up in that. How has the traditional concept of stranger danger evolved? You know, given the many special victims crimes that we hear committed, especially from known individuals. You know, some folks, these incidents occur, and most time it's done by an individual, and the individual may know sometimes. You know, especially if it happens within the home. But when it comes around to strangers, you know, how has that evolved in some way or the other, that the special victim unit is having a level of concern about that?
Okay, so in relation to stranger awareness, there have been numerous talks to persons. Don't talk to strangers. Don't give out personal information. All these are being said to our young ones, but they still continue to do it. They meet somebody on Instagram and they give them all the information.
Yeah.
All the information, going as far as giving them the password and whatnot. There's been so much of talks, but there's still some persons that go ahead and do it. We teach them, you educate them, but there's still some people that won't do it. We go through the schools, we speak to them in relation to strangers. Don't accept things, don't take anything. If you see a stranger, don't minimize your communication with them. If they asking personal questions, where you staying, who you live with. If they call on the phone and they say, you home alone? Mommy there? Them kind of thing. We do educate them, but there's still some persons or some children that will go ahead and do the opposite. So there's a high need to educate our children in relation to stranger awareness. There's still need for improvement there as it relates to that. And also we like to implore on members in the household to keep telling the children, the young one, about the dangers as it relates to strangers. Sometimes they mightn't take it when the police come and talk about it, but hearing it from somebody that's more familiar to them, their parent or some guardian, they may take it or adopt these practices.
So true.
So we want to move on from stranger danger. We educate about strangers, don't communicate, don't this. But we also don't want to instill so much of fear into persons as it relates to strangers. But teach them that how to identify threatening situations and how to get away from it, basically. And how you could tell somebody that you trust. Whenever you feel something is wrong, you could go and speak to somebody. But also, we don't want to instill fear or anxiety on them. But we still have to implore on them and educate them that speaking to strangers, stranger danger is all concerns.
All right. Tell me, what specific boundaries, in terms of let's talk about setting that particular language that a parent should speak to their sons and daughters. In terms of setting the rules, should parents teach their children from a very young age? When I say boundaries in terms of setting the language, what are the kind of conversations you should be having with individuals that you don't know? Especially when it comes to online or even in person. From time to time it may have started off where someone is meeting you online, but then it's the conversation may now switch to me. Let me meet you in person. How do you get away from that particular language? How do parents speak to their sons and daughters in terms of that, getting to that particular point, in terms of having that particular conversation with individuals?
So I've heard a lot of parents say that they don't have a problem with their child or children making friends. But a child is a child and an adult is an adult. There are times that, and even though everybody should know their boundaries.
So true.
Because we see offenses committed against each other, against persons of the same age. So you need to have a conversation with your child. And maybe you say ask your child, well, who is that friend? Let me see what kind of conversations you're having. Go through the chats, view the conversations, right? Sometimes you might see a few conversations, it seems like nothing. A few weeks into, you see the conversation taken. So keep on continuously monitoring. Let me see who is your friend. Let me know who is your friend. Monitor the conversation.
In addition to that, you should also reach out to the parents of that child that your child is engaging to see what type of person that person is and how they parent their own child. How they deal with this themselves. Yes.
All right. That's interesting to note. Now, how does the SVU conduct that community outreach for school visits to educate children and personal safety? And it still relates to boundary. How do you get that conversation started, especially when you visit schools and so forth, and going within the communities?
So we normally visit schools. We go and interact with the principal, the staff. We sometimes interact with the students. So we have a conversation where we do lectures. Are you interested in our lectures? We speak on certain issues: sexual violation of privacy, cyber, mostly everything we speak about as it relates to children. So you go and you build a kind of rapport with the teachers and the school, and you have days you schedule a time that maybe you could come, or you ask them, is there anything in particular that you want us to speak about? And most times they do say topics that they want to touch. And it's an easy process. It's not anything hard. You call.
So you're getting that participation from the youngsters as willing to go into that kind of conversation.
They're very informed. Yeah, and they're questioning you a lot too. So it's not anything difficult. The children know a lot. It's all about putting it into practice to prevent things from escalating.
What advice would you give to children in particular, of course, who may find themselves approached or by someone making or feeling uncomfortable in public? For some reason, this individual may see a youngster and comes up to them to want to have a conversation and may feel a little bit uncomfortable. What advice would you give to youngsters who get themselves in that particular situation?
So if you meet someone and they're speaking to you and you feel uncomfortable, you let them know that you do not want to speak to them and you walk away from the conversation. If the person persists, you move on and let the adult know that, a trusted adult, of course, let them know that this person is speaking to you in a manner that you do not appreciate and is very inappropriate, and then we would take it from there. The adult would, to speak to that person and tell them this person is not comfortable with the way you approach and speak to them, and then we should take it from there.
All right. Family preparedness, because it is what we call an essential part of safety, especially for youngsters. Example, their current photo, medical records, emergency contacts, and so forth. How important is that for households, to parents in particular in households, to make sure they keep these things on file? How important is that?
That is very important. So if a child should know their parents' full name, they should know their address, they should know the contact numbers of their family, they should know where they live and how to get there. They should know where their mom works, their parents works, what school they go to. They should know all those things. So just in case they turn up missing, we can ask them those questions and they can provide us with those information and we can locate their parents.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anything you want to add to that?
I would like to say that in regards to missing persons and family preparedness, there's a lot of information that the police will want from family members. So you have to be informed. Sometimes person may say, I don't have a recent photo,
Yeah.
And years pass and you have your child is 17 and you have a picture where your child is 10 years.
Oh, where they were baby pictures still.
Yeah, baby pictures. So we're asking families to be involved, right? Right? Be up to the time. Know what's going on. Your child talking about a friend, you don't know where the friend's staying, you don't know who is the friend's parents. That should be null and void. Yeah. We in the world today, you have to know. Everybody has to be. I'm asking parents to be investigative, right? Police your household, question everything. Make queries. Don't just be going through the motion, not knowing what's going on with your children, with persons under your care. Get involved.
Having sensitive conversation with youngsters these days sometimes could be very difficult. You did mention a while ago, sometimes these youngsters are so informed themselves, you as a parent may feel that you're way behind in terms of having various conversations with them. Now, and especially when in regards to their safety, how important it is for parents to have these sensitive conversations with their sons and daughters?
It's very important. They should know that safety talks about safety, your personal safety. It should be ongoing, and you shouldn't wait for an incident to happen for you to speak to your children about how they should safeguard themselves and the information that they should know.
All right. I mean, as I say, you get the conversation and you start it. Mm-hmm. You understand it. Sometimes it may feel a little bit uncomfortable getting into it.
But sometimes you have to keep having the conversation. You had the conversation last year, and you just stop.
Yeah.
So as things progressing, some of them things that happening, and you could draw a reference to it. You see that happened there. You see because that happened and because that was done, and you could draw examples to educate them and tell them what is going on. You see what happened when you don't do what you're supposed to do, and you keep that conversation. It may come across as if you're nagging, but sometimes we have to have that talk, especially when it's in concerning our children and protecting their safety, because we know that if anything happens to that child under your care, you know what the first thing the public saying, where were the parents?
Where were the parents? Even though the conversation may sound a little bit repetitive, but it's always good to always have it. You may not want to do it every day, but at least once or twice a month, you bring back up the conversation so they know what mom or dad stands for.
Yes.
And and it makes life easier for everyone in the long run. We're due for a break. Let's take it. We come back. Of course, to our listening and viewing audience, of course, the opportunity. If you do have a question or two, feel free to do so in the next segment. Stay with us. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back.
Served Grenada for decades. We are the #1 and largest electrical supplier.
Hi, welcome to Sunny Electrical. How may I help?
We offer electrical wiring accessories, tools, and appliances for all residential, commercial, and industrial.
Caribbean's highly anticipated international drags returns to the Spice Isle of Grenada. The Grenada Motor Club proudly presents the King Ocean International Drags, September 26th and 27th at the Pearls International Speedway. Get ready for what is anticipated to be one of the largest international drag racing events the Caribbean has ever seen. Witness some of the fastest and most powerful drag racing machines in the Caribbean, along with international participation from across the region, North America and South America. 2 days of speed, power, adrenaline, and non-stop action. And it doesn't stop at drag racing. Expect some special drift entertainment, appearances from some of the Caribbean's top influencers, and so much more. Mark the dates, September 26th and 27th. The King Ocean International Drags. The Caribbean is coming to the Spice Isle. You don't want to miss this one.
A new school year means new opportunities, but it also means new expenses. From uniforms and books to laptops, transportation and school supplies, Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited is here to help. Apply for a back-to-school loan and give your child the confident start they deserve with affordable financing and friendly service from the credit union you know and trust. Visit your nearest Grenville Cooperative Credit Union branch or call us today for more information. Grenville Cooperative Credit Union Limited, helping members build brighter futures, one school year at a time.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again to the Point Classic Radio GBN TV. We have the special victim unit with us this morning on today's edition of To the Point, and we're talking child safety, of course, and just responsibilities of parents to look out for the children a whole lot. I want to switch before we, of course, entertain the calls from our listeners and viewers this morning. Talk about the community responsibility in all of this. How can the ordinary citizen act as an eye and ear, especially for the special victim unit, to be precise about it, without they overlapping, into the or interfering in the official investigation? How can the regular citizen play a role in this?
So, community responsibility. That's mostly aimed at getting assistance to locate missing persons, bringing public awareness to the general public. This person is missing, anybody seeing the person, any information that the public gather, they should share with the police. If they're not comfortable with sharing it directly with the police, they could share it with a family member of the missing person who could use the channel to bring it across to the police. Right? So we also encouraging persons out there that normally sometimes you see a post up of missing person, a photo, last seen where, whatnot, and sometimes the comments that you see under the post is all negative. Remember that all of us is human beings. Sometimes the person may be missing for whatever reason, and then you see in a negative post, you might feel embarrassed, you might feel shame, and you just want to remain missing.
Yeah, that could propel you continue to do what you want to do.
Yes, it could propel you to just remain there. You just imagine the family members are concerned, they're a person concerned, and you're making them kind of remarks. I don't want to mention it on air, but we all see some of the remarks that are being made on the posts. So we encourage them, maybe if that comes to mind, just think something positively. Darling, come back home. There are persons worried about you. Go back home, or instead of making the negative comment, just some words of encouragement that could maybe say, my mother and them maybe looking for me and they worried. And so just a kind word could maybe make that person, wherever they are, maybe just come out and go back home or return home.
Oh, so true. Though sometimes we hear, how does the SGU, I probably should frame it now, how does the SVU address the cultural issues? When people say mind your own business, that kind of talk you hear going around from time to time when it comes to individuals who are missing. More so you may hear that coming across, especially for young girls more than a young boy. You understand? Mind your own business. So individuals just wanted to turn a blind eye to that because they may know the circumstances in terms of the behavior of individuals. How do you deal with that, especially when it comes to children being abused and neglected also?
Right, so I would just want to advise the public that the police alone cannot solve crime. We have to work together as one community to solve crime in our country. So if you see something, say something. If you see something and you're genuinely concerned, you report it to the police or to whoever in authority. Yes?
You know, don't say, well, I'm staying out of that. That's not my business.
And also, don't spread rumors. Like, say what you know, what is true. State the facts. Don't spread rumors and make assumptions about the situation at hand.
Because sometimes the rumor you're spreading is basically a third party talk to it.
Exactly.
You may not have factual information on what you're hearing. You know. Anything else you want to add on that, Francis?
I'd just like to say to the general community that in terms of missing persons, sometimes you have friends or persons, you have a broader reach than the police officer. You could share the missing person report, put it on your status. We all like to promote negative things sometimes, but sometimes it's to promote things that could assist, to bring closure, to bring some kind of thing to persons that are missing. Post it on your status.
We like to do the things for the likes.
Yes.
For the likes.
Instead of pushing all the negative or posting something that's not really important on your status, put it there, share it. Inquire any information you get, you relate to the police. All of us in this together, you know. And sometimes the community of the one that actually solve crimes.
I agree.
They bring closure to a lot of matters. So we just urging the general public out there that anything you hear, you see something, you suspect something, you hear something, you relate to the police.
Yeah. You know, sometimes individuals do feel that trauma, sometimes, especially during the process of the investigation, they are missing, and the information is posted via social media and so forth. Well, GT is missing for whatever reason, my age is given, what I'm wearing. No, the trauma start developing in the mindset of that individual. You know, how are the other individuals going to look at me? How do they usually deal with a situation like that? When it comes around to know where that individual is not being found, how do they deal with a situation of that nature, knowing, well, how am I going to feel now to go back into society knowing, well, GT's been missing for a couple of days? Someone may have an idea where I've been or whatever, or the reason where I have decided not to return home. How do they actually deal with a situation like that?
So in relation to children, missing children, once they're found, we reach out to the Child Protection Authority, who is the sole responsible body for children in Grenada. So we reach out to them, and they would be privy to the facts with whatever happened to the child. Right. And so they would recommend counseling for that child. So there is counseling available to them regarding whatever happened to them. So there's counseling available for them. Also for the adults, if adults went missing for whatever reason, there is the Ministry of Social Development, and counseling is also available for them.
I asked the question because, you know, sometimes the after effect is all sometimes even worse than the actual event taking place, because, you know, after you have returned and that's settled and back into society, you know, it sometimes it becomes much more of a problem than you even were missing before.
Yes.
You understand, settle it more. Folks, the lines are open to our listeners and viewers. You want to chime in? We do have a few more minutes left on the program. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask, feel free to do so. I'm seeing a question here from someone asking a question. Let me see if I can get that blown up here just a wee bit. And they're saying, I think we did have a slight response, but maybe they want a little bit more clarity on it. They said, is it true that you must wait 48 hours to report a missing person? They just want a little more clarification on that. I think you did respond to that. It's not, you don't have to.
You don't have to wait 48 hours. Once you have genuine concern of for the person's safety and the whereabouts, you made the necessary checks and you have not found them, you can report that they are missing to the police.
Right. So you're going to debunk that statement when people say, well, the police may not put out a release that individual is missing until 48 hours. That is not always true.
No, it's not always true.
That's not always true about that.
No.
All right. So I hope that listener viewer to get some clarification on that. We have just about 2 more minutes left. I give you opportunity. Any closing contributions you want to make before we wrap? It seems like our listeners and viewers understand a whole lot in terms of our conversation this morning. Anything you want to say before we wrap this morning?
I just want to admonish the public to continue working along with the police. Grenada is one of the safest safest country in the world, so we want to keep it like that. So do what's necessary for your personal safety. Take the information that we're giving you and put it into practice.
Okay. Anything final?
I also like to implore on the general public, the community, in relation to missing persons or missing child, that they assist, and any information that they gather or anything that they know about the person's whereabouts, they should forward that information to the police.
Okay.
It might be somebody today, but it might be come closer to home another time. So be our brother's keeper and encourage persons. Don't just speak about negatives. Encouragement, be your brother's keeper, look out for each other, and live good. That's all I like to say. Thanks.
Great. And I think that is definitely a proper way to close our program today. I want to thank you both for sharing information this morning, fruitful information as always. We know from time to time we do hear young people go missing, and sometimes we don't understand the reason or reasons why they do what they do. And it's not until after the fact we find out, well, could be various reasons. Somebody may want to get into it this morning, but make sure that if you have information that could minimize the whole situation a whole lot, please share it with the Special Victims Unit.
Definitely.
So true. Hey, thanks once again to our listeners and viewers for being part of today's edition of To The Point. Thank you so much for those of you who sat at home and listened. Thanks so much, folks. That's what we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point. Goodbye, folks.